Welcome back. So today we are going to discuss on section 3, what are not inventions. So we are going to read from this text itself. Okay. So section 3 includes what are not inventions, and many times you will get questions which are asking about this, and you also get questions in paper 2, also in paper 1. So section 3A says an invention which is frivolous or which claims anything obviously contrary to well-established natural laws. So if you are trying to claim something which is contrary to well-established natural law, say for example, you want to say that I would like to claim and something which is negative anti-gravity substance which does not which device which goes against the gravity law, then we will have to understand how it is. But if it says that it is contrary to that, then it will not be there. Section 3B, an invention, the primary or intended use or commercial exploitation of which could be contrary to public order or morality, or which causes serious prejudice to human, animal, or plant life, or health, or to environment. So in short, what we can say, that section 3B says that anything which is harmful to the society or anyone will not be patentable. It's not an invention. They don't say it an invention. You may have very inventive elements, you may have very novelty, but these are not considered as an invention. So we are not going to get a patent. For example, method of committing theft. So this is not an invention according to 3B. Section 3C says the mere discovery of a scientific principle or the formulation of an abstract theory. Everything you see, they are writing or discovery of any living things or non-living substance occurring in nature. They are not invention. For example, you say discovery of a galaxy is not an invention. Discovery of the Einstein formula E is equal to mc square, force is equal to mass into acceleration. These are mere scientific discoveries. They are not patentable. Again, discovery of an element which exists in nature, they are not patentable. Discovery of any living things. You say that recently we discovered a pathogen, a bacteria, which are very useful, but they are not patentable. So they become patentable in the cases where there are some genetic modifications are done so that they become some useful. For example, we have heard about a bacteria which can eat the petrol or petroleum products spilled over the ocean surface. So they are genetically engineered bacteria. So they can be called inventions. But if those bacteria are naturally occurring in the nature, they are not called as an invention. Section 3D. Section 3D reads the mere discovery of a new form of a known substance which does not result in enhancement of known efficacy. So there is a substance known, a known substance, but mere discovery of a new form. So one form, maybe say L form is known, you identify a D form, you purified L form, R form, or other isomers, or any salt, anything you discover of a known substance, but you see that this is not causing any enhancement in the known efficacy, then their substance is not patentable. So for example, a drug is known to cure fever or to cure COVID symptoms. But the challenge is that if you find a new substance which of a different isomers or a different salt, or because that has been grinded to a particular small sizes, but if the efficacy is not increased, meaning there is no change in the efficacy of the substance when a patient takes it, so those kind are not patentable. That means when you file patent, you have to show that this more efficacy is more. Means original one was only 60%, but the new form is efficacy is 99%. Then that will become patentable, otherwise not. So efficacy has to be shown. Or it says mere discovery of a new property of a known substance. So there is a substance known, but you identify its new property, or a new use for a known substance. For example, one drug is known to cure fever. Then you identify that same drug can be used to cure arthritis. Now, this one drug has already been patented for the use in the fever cases, but now you have found that drug to cure arthritis, but this is not patentable. This will come under new use of a known substance. Or of a mere use of a known process, machine, or apparatus, unless such known process results in new product. So if a process is known, then you cannot patent it. But this process, machine, apparatus, if you're using it and you want to patent it, then that process or use of machine apparatus must result in new product, or it must use at least one new reactant. So there are many things given 3D. So mostly this has been done so that the pharmaceutical industry, where many times we see that one isomer is having more efficacy than other. So those kind of are the new discoveries. Sometimes we know that one medicine can be used in other diseases also, but these are not known previously. So use of those substances are not patentable under this section 3D. And when it comes for the explanation, it says the purpose of this clause: salts, ester. Those who are from chemistry background, they can understand salt, ester, ether, polymorphs, metabolites, pure form, particle size, meaning if it is a micro size or nano size, isomers, mixtures of isomers, complexes, combination of other derivatives of known substance, everything is considered in this. So unless they differ significantly in properties with regard to efficacy, so only one property is being counted, that the efficacy should be more. Section 3E says a substance obtain a mere mixture, and only result in only aggregation of the properties of the component thereof, or a process for producing their substance. For example, if I mix salt and sugar, so when I am tasting salt and sugar, I will taste both salt and sugar together. So salt is showing its own property and sugar is showing its own property, meaning they have not changed the property. So whatever property is being seen, it is just an aggregation of other properties. Therefore, a mixture of salt and sugar is not patentable. And if you say that I have developed a new process to mix salt and sugar, then that process will also be not patentable, because they are not resulting into a new product. So if I mix two compound A and compound B, and it gives compound C, which is completely different from compound A or compound B. For example, if I give very general example, hydrogen plus oxygen gives water. So water is neither like oxygen and water is neither like hydrogen. It has a different property than hydrogen and oxygen. So those kind of reaction has to be there, and it should not be just aggregation of properties. Similarly, for the mixture, section F says the mere arrangement or rearrangement or duplication of known devices. So if you have known devices, device A, for example, you set up a machine where there are many process steps. One is grinding. You grind first, and then you separate the particle based on sizes, and then you take out the particle which is a small sizes, and then you again grind, then again separate, and then again grind, again separate. So you may have different steps, and similarly you have many such separation process, and then you mix it together. So all devices can function independently to one another. That means crushing device, grinding device function is not dependent on the device which is separating the particles based on sizes. So they can function independent to each other. So just merely combining them together, it is not become patentable. Okay. Section G is omitted. Section H, method of agriculture or horticulture. It is a method of agriculture or horticulture. Method means process of doing it. So the idea is that you cannot go to the farmer and farmer will not infringe any patent. You cannot stop the farmer from doing something. So therefore, method is not patentable. Similarly, a process for medicinal, surgical, curative, prophylactic, diagnostic, therapeutic. So this is also a process. A process how a doctor is treating a patient, that is not patentable. The process. So simple thing that we need to keep in mind that anything which is going to stop a doctor or medical professional from doing his duty will not be patentable, or anything which is going to stop a farmer from doing his duty is also not patentable. So method agriculture and process of medicinal surgical is not patentable. Similarly, treatment of animals to render them free of disease or to increase the economic value or that of their product is also not patentable. Section J said plants and animals in whole, the total plant, okay, you take out the plant or any part thereof other than microorganism but including seeds, variety and species, and essentially biological process for production or propagation of plants and animals. So these are also not patentable. So J is regarding plants and animals. So seeds are not patentable. There are various case studies going on with regard to the seeds. That can the seeds be patentable, because some companies have developed genetically modified seeds. So many cases are going on. You can read those cases. K, a mathematical or business method or a computer program per se or algorithm, they are not patentable in India. Mathematical process, any formula you develop, business method, a process of doing a business is also not patentable. For example, Zomato, Swiggy, they have a process of doing business in India, but you will not see a patent. Like Big Basket, you will not see a patent. So how they pick an order, how they go to delivery, and who are involved, what are the process steps, how they store everything. If it looks like a business method, then it not be patentable in India. L means anything which is related to the copyright things, literary, dramatic, musical, or artistic work, or any other aesthetic creation. Aesthetic creation means they don't have any functional value. They are just for aesthetic creation whatsoever, including cinematography work and television productions. They are not patentable. Therefore, we many times get a question that somebody has developed a musical therapy to treat some disease. Is it patentable? Okay, so method of treating a disease is not patentable according to section 3I, and music per se is not patentable according to section 3L. A mere scheme or rule or method of performing mental act or method of playing game is not patentable. You cannot patent that I am going to patent a movement of a chess. I will play these steps and other cannot play these steps. You cannot say that I play football in a particular way and therefore I have patent and other cannot play the football in the same way. So these are not patentable. And presentation of information is not patentable. So if your invention is just the way of displaying an information, maybe an Excel sheet or maybe a PowerPoint presentation, any way, so that is also not patentable. It may come under copyright, but it is not patentable. Topography of integrated circuits. Topography means integrated circuits, how they are designed. So those topography are not patentable. And finally, section P, an invention which in effect is traditional knowledge. They are not patentable. Okay. So from section 3A to P, we need to remember. So how I did, A means anything which is frivolous, and B means harmful, one line. C means mere discovery. D means new form. E means mixture. F for arrangement. H for horticulture. I for medicinal. So I is medicinal. So I for medicinal. J for jungle. So from jungle, I remember that plants, animals, and seeds are not patentable. K for mathematics, business. L for literary or copyright. M for mental act. N for presentations. So N comes in last. So presentations. And O for topography. So TO topography. And P for Purana. So in Hindi language, you say Purana. Purana means traditional. So this is how, in a very shortcut way, I remember those. Okay. Next, we move to section 4. Section 4 is very simple. It simply says no patent shall be granted in respect of an invention relating to atomic energy. Okay. Anything which talks or is related to atomic energy will not be patentable. Now, many things could be in atomic energy, and that comes in a section, subsection 1 of section 20 of Atomic Energy Act 1962, 33 of 1962. So this is not part of our syllabus, so we don't have to bother much what is content there. But if looks like it is for atomic energy, then it will not be patentable. So this is section 4. Section 5 is omitted. Section 6 is very simple. Section 6 says persons entitled to apply for patent. Okay. So who are the persons who are entitled to apply for patent? This is very simple. So subject to provision contained under section 34 that we have recorded videos and you can see, an application for a patent for invention may be made by any of the following person. Any person claiming to be true and first inventor of the invention. So anyone who is true and first inventor, he can file patent, or any person being assignee of the person claiming to be true and first inventor. So true and first inventor can apply for the patent himself, or anyone who has been assigned by true and first inventor, he can also file patent. And C, by legal representative of any deceased person. Suppose a person before the filing he died, but he did the work, he was the true and first inventor, but he died. So his legal representative, he can file. And section 6(2) says an application under section 1 may be made by any of the person referred to therein, either alone or jointly with any other person. So as you see that there could be 3 scenarios, meaning say there are 3 friends, Mr. A, Mr. B, and Mr. C. So all they work on the same invention. So Mr. A is filing on his own behalf, but Mr. B, he hired a registered Indian patent agent to file the patent. And for Mr. C, because he died before filing, so he's a legal representative. So all these 3 persons can also file together the patent application. So this is section 6. Coming to section 7. So section 7 is regarding the form of application. Okay. So what it says that every application for patent shall be for one invention only. Only for one invention only. And shall be made in prescribed format. So what do you mean by prescribed format? Prescribed form is we need to go to rules to understand what are the prescribed formats. So what it says, prescribed form is we need to go to form 1, and the fees is 1600, 4000, 8000. But we have now the new fee structure that you need to see from the new book or new act. So please get a new book to see this fees. So let me tell you what is the fees for form 1. So you can open the book and you will see all the fees written there and you can remember. So for fees 1, for the form 1, it is 1600 and 8000 only. Okay. So prescribe form and fill in the file in the patent office. So prescribe means form 1, you to apply form 1 and form 2. Every international application under PCT for a patent as may be filed designating India shall be deemed to be an application under this act if corresponding application has also been filed before controller in India. So for PCT, as the same PCT application can enter into India as it is. Okay. And we are going to have a separate video on PCT filing stage in coming weeks. So please please subscribe to this channel so that we can get information on that. So section 7(1)(b) says the filing date of an application referred to section 1A, that means for the PCT, 1A is the PCT, and its complete specification processed by the patent office as designated office or elected office shall be the international filing date under the PCT. So for India, filing date is when you file in Indian office, but for PCT, it is the international filing date. So we get the question that for PCT, what is the filing date? So that is the international filing date is for the PCT. Number 2, section 7, subsection 2 says, where the application is made by virtue of an assignment of the right to apply for a patent for the invention, there shall be furnished with application or within such period as may prescribe after the filing application proof of right to make application. So you need to submit a proof of right. Okay. So proof of right has to be submitted. So if it is by the virtue of assignment of right, then proof of right has to be submitted to make the application. So you can see rule 10. Okay, rule 10. It says that what is the timing? It is within 6 months you have to submit. Within 6 months we need to submit the proof of right. We have to submit it within 6 months of time. Okay, so number 3 says every application under this section shall state that applicant is in possession of invention and shall name the person claiming to the true and first inventor. It simply says when you fill the form, then who is the person true and first inventor, his name has to be there. Where the region so claiming is not the applicant or one of the applicant, the application shall contain a declaration that the applicant believes the person so named to be true and first inventor. So basically it says that true and first inventor name has to be there. Okay, and who is the true and first inventor, that declaration is also made. So if we see the form 7, then we can see very clearly that those are mentioned there. and we just need to fill it out. So section 7, form 1 contains everything. So I'm just opening form 1 for you. So form 1, if you see, then everything has to be mentioned there. And this is what it says. Inventors. Are inventors same as applicant named above? So applicant could be different and inventor could be different. So you need to mention that applicant and inventor is same, then you tick mark. And if you see that inventor and applicant is not the same, then you need to mention who is the applicant. For example, if patent agent is filing, so he's not the inventor, then he need to say that who are the inventors. Okay, so this is what is given here. So just have a look at form 1 and what are the things that are required to fill, and then everything will become clear for section 7. Every such application, not being a conventional application or application PCT, shall be accompanied by a provisional or a complete specification. So when you file application, then provisional or complete specification means form 1 and form 2 has to be filed together. So form 1 is the application, and then form 2 is the complete specification or provisional specification that is mentioned there. So in paper 2, whenever we need to answer writing the complete specification with the claims and title abstract, then this is mean that we understand what are the elements of form 2 that need to fill. So in section 7, only one thing that is important to remember, that a filing date for the PCT is the international filing date. And if number 2, form 7.2, where application is made by virtue assignment of the right to apply for a patent for the invention, then within 6 months, proof of right to make application has to be submitted. Okay, so what is generally done, that these are the things which are submitted at one go, because it is very difficult to track those time. So then when practically they submit everything together. So section 7 says that while filing application, form 1 and form 2 and proof of right to make application, the submit is at one go, and filing date for the PCT is international filing date. So these are things to be remembered in section 7. Section 8, this is information and undertaking regarding foreign application. So there are many texts written here, but only one thing that you need to understand, that if you are making any application outside India, then patent office need to be informed. And if you fail to inform, then that may become a criteria for a serious issue, like your patent may be revoked for that purpose. Let us read this, where an applicant, okay, for a patent under this act is prosecuting either alone, okay, or jointly with other person. Okay, so an applicant is prosecuting an application for a patent, in simple language, in any country outside India. Okay, so if the applicant is prosecuting any application outside India for same or substantially the same invention, or where to his knowledge such application is being prosecuted by some person through whom he claims, or by some person deriving title from him, he shall file along with the application or subsequently within the prescribed period, as the controller may allow, a statement letting out particulars of such application. Okay, so if there is any application in the foreign country that is being prosecuted, then all the details need to be provided to the patent office. Where an applicant for a patent under this act, so applicant for a patent under this act, that means an applicant has filed a patent in patent office in India, but similar technology, similar area, he also filed in outside India, and that is under prosecution. And this application in India, both are under prosecution. So both are under prosecution. None of them has been granted. Specifically, we are interested in India. If they are not granted, it is under prosecuting. Then section 8(1)(a) says a statement letting out detailed particulars of such application has to be submitted, and this is not or. Number B has to be done. Therefore, it says and undertaking that, and you need to give undertaking. So at one instance, you said that yes, my application, which is under prosecution in India, so I have filed similar application in China or Japan or any other country. I have filed, and these are also getting prosecuted. But you have given the information, but you need to also give an undertaking that up to the grant of patent in India, meaning till the patent is not granted in India, he would keep controller informed in writing from time to time of detailed particulars as required under clause A in respect to every application relating to same and substantially same dimension, if any filed in any country outside India subsequently to filing of the statement referred to in aforesaid clause within the prescribed time. So this also prescribed time is 6 months. We need to give the application the detail we have to submit regularly, and that a statement undertaking is given in form 3. So you may make a note down that in form 3 for section 8, this is form 3, and which rule you need to refer to rule number 12, form 3, rule 12. So there you need to give a statement and undertaking. Undertaking means I will keep controller informed about all the stages from time to time. It is not like once you submitted that in Japan or US or China, you file. So what is the status in Japan? What is the status in US? What is in China? All countries you have to inform as the status changes, and this we need to keep informing controller in writing till the patent is granted in India. Okay. So what is to remember here, that if a patent is under prosecution, it is not granted in India, and similar applications is being prosecuted in outside India, then all the status has to be informed to controller in writing, and that is, and a statement undertaking is form 3 that you need to submit. At any time after the application for patent is filed in India and till the grant, so time limit is only grant. So once the patent is granted in India, then there is no need to inform patent office again. Or refusal of grant, if it is refused thereon, the controller may also require the applicant to furnish details as may prescribe relating to the process application in country outside India, and in that event the applicant shall furnish the controller information available to him within such period. It means that one has to submit by his own, but controller may also require the applicant to furnish details. Means he may also ask the detail. So he can only ask detail if we have submitted once the detail, so he knows that something is being prosecuted in some other countries also. So if he requires, then he can ask what is the status in China, what is the status in Japan. So that additional information we also need to provide. So this is section 8. So this is a very serious one. If you fail to do this, then patent will be revoked. And any outside person, he can know about this status by filing to controller and filling the forms that you can see in the other videos, which forms are required and how much fees need to be paid. We are not going to discuss here. So anyone interested can get this information that such person has filed this form 3 or not, or how many times he has submitted. Everything details can be taken, and those can form the ground for revocations under section 64. Okay, so we'll move to section 9. Section 9 is regarding provisional and complete specification. So as we saw that in section 7, that application has to file, then form 1 and form 2, and the right of proof to make application is submitted, and form 2 is the provisional and or complete specification are mentioned in form 2. So what are these provisional and complete specification? These are mentioned in section 9. It says where an application for a patent, okay, not being convention application or an PCT application, okay, so they are straightforward application for a patent in India is accompanied by provisional specification. Okay, so if you are filing a provisional specification in India, then a complete specification shall be filed within 12 months. So one has to file complete specification within 12 months from date of filing the application. So if 1st January I file the application as a provisional, so then also we are filing form 2 only, but we write provisional specification. So provisional specification does not contain claim, okay, and they can be revised many times. You can file many provisional specification in 12 months time, and then within the first provisional application date, within 12 months we need to file a complete specification, and if the complete specification is not filed, the application shall be deemed to abandon. So my application is abandoned. So if I file complete specification, then it is complete, meaning we can go for examination, request for examination, other things, but provisional specification will not be examined, and if complete is not filed within 12 months, then entire application is abandoned and we will have to initiate the process same, and the problem is that you are going to lose the priority date. Where 2 or more applications in the name of the same applicant are accompanied by provisional specification. So there are 2 or more applications by the same applicant, okay, accompanied by provisional specification in respect to invention which are cognate or of which one is modification of another. The controller is of opinion that the whole of such invention are such that to constitute a single invention and may properly be included in one patent, he may allow one complete specification to be filed in respect of all such specification. So provisional specification, this step is only to help the scientist. For example, I am working on one type of coating with one kind of thing. So for example, I am developing a cosmetic product, and in cosmetic product I develop has some features, but I'm not sure the entire features, but I have some idea, no experimental details and no much clarity on what could be that. So to protect my idea, I can file a provisional specification, and then I have 12 months of time to file the complete specification, but my priority date is saved. But what happens that during the R&D process, I came to know that there can be some more modification. So I keep doing the modification. So within the 12 months, I file 10 more provisional specification, not 1, not 2, but 10. So it means every month I file one provisional specification. And then if you can convince controller that all these specifications are related to only one composition that was for the cosmetic use, then controller will allow that, yes, we can combine everything together and file one complete specification. Provided the period of time is specified under subsection 1 shall be counted from the earliest provisional specification. So 12 months will be counted from the first one. So for example, in January I file, then February also I file, then March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, also I file one application. So the 12 months will be counted for combination is from January. For example, I do not want to include January thing in my specification. So if I leave out January, I leave out February, I just take November 1 as the final one. Then from November onwards, I again have 12 months. But if I want to include others, then the 12 months will be counted from the first such provision application. This is point number 2. Subsection 3 says, where an application for a patent. Okay, again, we are not considering the convention and PCT application. Okay, these are all talking about application directly filed in India. Okay, is accompanied by a specification purporting to be complete specification. The controller may, if the applicant so request, at any time within 12 months from the date of filing the application, direct that such a specification shall be treated for the purpose of this act as provisional specification and proceed with the application accordingly within 12 months. Now the scenario is, instead of filing a provisional, you file a complete specification. So how a complete and provisional specification they differ? They differ just by a word in the form 2. In form 2, right, provisional specification, then the entire specification becomes the provisional specification. In form 2, right, complete specification, it becomes a complete specification. Although the complete specification has to contain claim and everything, but suppose you file a complete specification in the first instance on January 1st, and then you are doing some research and you realize that you need to file some more detail to it. Then what you can do, you can convert that complete specification and say that that is my provisional specification. So the moment to convert this complete into provisional, you need to file, or you become eligible to file another complete specification. Because if you already filed a complete specification, you cannot file a new complete specification. So complete specification is filed only once. Therefore, if you have filed a provisional, then you can file complete specification within 12 months time. But if somehow you file the complete specification, but you realize later on that I need to add something to it, or I need to write it more properly, or something in different way. But again, the criteria has to be that whatever you file complete provisional specification, if you want to retain that priority date, then the claim should be based on those only. So those are there in other sections. So, but what we are focusing here is that if you file provisional, then you get 12 months time to file complete specification. But if you file complete specification, then that process stops here. But Patent Act gives a chance that even if you file a complete specification, there is a chance that what you can do, you may convert that complete specification to a provisional specification within 12 months of filing complete specification. 9.4, where an complete specification has been filed in pursuance of an application for patent accompanied by provisional specification. Now here situation is, you filed a provisional specification, and then next step you also file a complete specification, or by a specification treated by virtue of direction under subsection 3 as provisional. The controller may, the applicant so request, at any time before grant of patent, cancel the provisional specification and post date the application to the date of filing of the complete specification. So what we say is that you have filed a complete provisional on January 1st, and then you file a complete specification on November 1st. Okay, then priority date is January 1st. But for some reason, if you don't want to consider this provisional specification, then you can cancel this and say that I want to post date, and now my priority would be the November 1st when I file the complete specification. Or it could be like you file the complete specification first, but then you converted that into provisional specification as per section 3, section 9, subsection 3. So complete specification converted into provisional, and then you again file a complete specification. And you want to cancel this one, first one, so that it is your application is post-dated to the date of filing of complete specification. So it happens in the scenario where, because we know that the claims of the complete specification depends on the provisional specification filed first to claim the priority, or any detail that is given there. So everything has to be based on the provisional specification, but we see that the new filing is completely different than what we filed earlier. So in that case, my new complete specification will not be completely supported by the provisional specification. So sometimes they may cancel it out and file the complete specification. Why such applications are being filed? This could be filed for many reasons. For example, a company is going for some deals, and that time they don't have enough patent on that project. So immediately they file some provisional specification before going to talk for the deal. And because that provisional specification was filed without much thinking and doing anything, therefore later on they cancel it and file a new complete specification or new provisional specification. They just cancel it out. So this is section 9. Now section 10. Section 10, it just says what are things has to be there in the specification. Okay, what it says that every specification, whether provisional or complete, shall describe the invention. Okay, so you have to describe the inventions. Even in provisional or complete specification, invention has to describe and shall begin with a title. So title has to be there, and what is the invention that needs to be described sufficiently, indicating the subject matter to which the invention relates to. So you see, these are the important points while writing the paper 2, where you are going to write the complete specification. So therefore, a video has already been uploaded on how to write the drafting paper for paper 2. So you can see that, and you will see that the shall describe the inventions, has to the title, and indicate the subject matter to which the invention relates to. So this language are given there. Number 2 says, subject to any rules that may be made in this behalf under this act, drawings may or shall, if controller so requires, be supplied for purposes of any specification, whether complete or provisional. So if drawings are needed, then controller may ask, and you need to provide the drawings if required. And any drawings so supplied shall, unless the controller otherwise direct, be deemed to be part of the specification. And any drawing that to provide will become the part of a specification if controller says that I just asked it for my understanding and need not be in the specification. A specification is self-sufficient without this also, then it will not be the part of a specification. So it says unless the controller otherwise directs. Okay, and references in this act to our specification shall be construed accordingly. So it means that if drawings are required, then controller may ask, and we need to furnish a drawing. And if controller does not say specifically that drawings is not required to be part of a specification, then automatically drawing becomes the part of a specification. 10.3 says, if in any particular case the controller considers that an application should be further supplemented by a model. Okay, so 2 was talking about the drawings, now it's talking about a model or a sample of anything illustrating the invention or alleged to constitute an invention. Such models or sample as he may require shall be furnished before the application is found in order for grant. Okay, so if some models are need to be submitted or some samples required, okay, For example, I have made a drug molecule or something like this, and then they ask me some sample of the drug molecule, how it looks like. Okay, so that has to be submitted before the patent is found to be gone, to be ready for the gun. But such model samples shall not be deemed to form part of a specification. So why they are giving time till the patent is found in order for gun? This is because many times sample collection may not be that easy. For example, you have filed a patent for something which requires an operation in industry. So before filing, you did it, but after filing, you can start production, and at that time, controller may ask that you give a sample. So you have sufficient time before the patent is found in order for grant, so that you can submit sample. But those samples and models that you submit shall not be deemed to form part of a specification. Here, control does not say that is part, and automatically, according to Act, it is not part of a specification. But drawings are part of a specification, unless controller says no. So therefore, you may get question on this, saying that drawings are not part of a specification, models are part of a specification. So be careful. Drawings are part of a specification, unless controller says no, they are not part. But models and samples are not part of a specification. Number 4 of section 10. Every complete specification shall, okay, contain fully and particularly describe the invention. So you need to describe the invention, its operation or use and method by which it is to perform. Disclose the best method of performing the invention, which is known to the applicant and for which he is entitled to claim protection. So best method has to be given there in the patent. Okay, so you have to provide the best method and with a claim. So this is regarding complete specification. So when you are writing this complete specification, these things has to come there. Otherwise, you don't get marks. So therefore, a language is suitably used so that this A, B, C, and D, all this data is captured in the application. So this is what they see. So and the claim or claims define the scope of the invention for which protection is claimed. D, be accompanied by an abstract to provide technical information on the invention. So an abstract has to be given, provided, okay, the controller may amend the abstract, okay, to provide better information to third parties. Controller may amend this abstract, okay, so if abstract is not giving clear information, then controller may amend the abstract, okay, here. And 3D2, if the applicant mentions a biological material in the specification which may not be described in such a way. So if you are mentioning about the biological material, then you need to deposit the biological material to International Depository Authority. That has to be deposited. Okay. And while depositing, this is a condition that need to fulfill. A, the deposited material shall be made not later than date of filing a patent application in India. So it is not like I file today and then I submit later. So before filing, it has to be submitted in the International Depository Authority and reference to be made in the application. And then you need to make the reference that I have deposited in this authority on this date. This thing has to mention all the available characteristics of the material required for it to be correctly identified or indicated are included in the specification. So how to identify that biological material? All the required characteristic has to be given so that one can clearly identify that you're talking about this. So what are the characteristics? You give the name, address of the depository institution, date and number of the deposit of the material at the institution. So all these things has to be given so that anyone reading your patent will be able to trace out this biological material. Access to the material is available in depository institution only after the date of application of patent in India, or if priority is claimed after the date of priority. Okay. So Although we submit the documents before the filing the patent, but anyone if want to understand what is that file, then those information will only be available after the application is filed. So there is no mention of the gap between the two events, means depositing at this and then filing the patent. But only condition is the deposition has to be made before the filing of the patent. Or you can do that on the same date. It says not later than the date of filing. So if 9 January is the filing date of patent, then the 9 January has to date of deposition there. So it should not be 10 January. Okay. Disclose the source and geographical origin of the biological material in a specification when used in invention. It is mentioned. Now there are some discussion going on regarding this biological treaty, biological deposition. So you may like to read and follow the news article also. 4A says, in case of an international application designated in India, title, description, drawings, abstract claim, file with the application shall be taken as complete specification for the purpose of this act. So if it is a PCT application, then whatever is filed in PCT, that is counted as the complete specification. The claim or claims of complete specification shall relate to a single invention. Okay, so claim has to be for single invention, or it could be like a group invention. They are linked such that it becomes single invention, inventive concept. So an application is granted only for one invention, but it may be like 2-3 concepts are combined together so that it becomes a one concept. That is also allowed. Then number 6, a declaration as to inventorship or invention shall, in such case as may prescribe, be furnished in prescribed form with the complete specification or within such period as may prescribed after the filing of that specification. So declaration has to be made regarding the inventorship, and that you need to do, and that is done in Form 5. Form 5 is filled. Form 5 So Form 5 is filled to declare the inventorship. Okay. So it means when you are filing application, then Form 1, Form 2, Form 5, proof of right to make applications. Then if there is any foreign application is maybe under prosecution, that time Form 3 also need to be submitted. Okay. If it is same concept, similar concept, then Form 3 is submitted. So declaration of inventorship is Form 5, and period is within 3 months, within 1 month has to submit it. So therefore, no one is going to wait for 1 month, but they submit at the same time. Then subject to the foregoing provisions of this section, a complete specification filed after the provisional specification may include a claim in respect of development of or addition to the invention which was described in the provisional specification. Okay, so this is very good for us also, because if provisional specification and their file, that time you may not have much clarity, but in 12 months you may have done many research, and then you want to file some development over what is filed in provisional specification, then those can be included, being development or addition in respect of which applicant would be entitled under the provision of section 6 to make a separate application for a patent. So if it is a new development, something is new, then you can file a separate application for a patent. Okay, so this is section 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So subject to foregoing provision of this section, a complete specification filed after the provisional specification may include claims in respect to development or addition the invention which are described in the provisional specification. Okay, being development or addition in respect to which the applicant would be entitled under the provision of section 6 to make a separate application for a patent. So you can make a separate application also. Okay, so like you can file a patent of addition as well as separate application. So this is we complete section 10. Section 11 is priority dates of claims of complete specification. Okay, so section 11 says priority dates of claims of a complete specification. So it says there shall be a priority date. So very simple language, what it says that priority date is first one, okay, first application. So if you file something new in subsequent sections, subsequent stage like provisional, then complete, and then if you have many provisionals, then the claim in the complete specification has to be substantiated from the provisional application, and therefore the priority dates may differ. So there shall be a priority date for each claim of a complete specification. For each claim, there is a priority date. What it means, that it may have that you have 10 claims and then 10 provisional applications, and all these 10 claims may refer to 10 different provisional applications. Where a complete specification is filed in pursuance of a single application accompanied by provisional or a specification which is treated by virtue of direction under section 3 of 9 as provisional specification. So it is talking about where a complete specification is filed, okay, pursuance of a single application. So there is a provisional and then you file a complete, but section 9 subsection 3 says that you can convert a complete specification into provisional. So that also become provisional, and then you again file a complete specification. And the claim is fairly based on a matter disclosed in the specification therein in clause A or clause B. The priority date of that claim shall be the date of filing of the relevant specification. So what is the priority date of the claim in the complete specification? Priority date is the date of filing of that relevant specification. So if you file a provisional on January 1st, and then you file a complete specification on October 1st, then the priority date of the claims in complete specification is January 1st. And if you are filing more provisional specification between this and you are combining them together into one complete specification, then the claims will correspond accordingly where they were mentioned first in the provisional specification. Number 3, where the complete specification is filed or proceeded with the pursuance of 2 or more applications accompanied by such specification as are mentioned in subsection 2, the claim is fairly based on the matter disclosed. So this is what I discussed. That if you file more than the claim, say for example, let us read first, then I will tell you. 3A says in one of those specifications, the priority date of the claims shall be date of filing of the application accompanied by that specification. B, partly in one and partly in another, the priority date of that claim shall be the date of filing of the application accompanied by the specification of the later date. Okay, partly in one and partly in another, then it is the later date. Okay, so what happens that if you are filing a complete specification and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 provisional specification that you want to combine together, and then you have final claim. So there are 5 claims and 5 provisional specifications. Then claim 1 corresponds to specification 1 because in claim 1 is based on what is matter disclosed in the specification 1. Similar 2, 3, 4, 5. But it may happen that partly in one and partly in another you describe. So then the priority date will be that of the later date. So when it was completely described, means you describe first in this first application, and then you describe something extra in the second application. But first application and second application together, when read together, they give the complete picture of an invention. Therefore, the second date is considered for the priority claim. 3A where a complete specification based on a previously filed application in India has been filed within 12 months. So a complete specification has been filed, okay, based on previously filed application in India. So you file some provisional or complete specification, then again you file a complete specification after provisional, or if you file complete specification, you converted the complete specification into provisional, and therefore you again become eligible to file another complete specification has been filed within 12 months, right? So within 12 months you file the date of that application. The claim is fairly based on the method disclosed in the previously filed application. So this is what we again and again discussing. That claim has to be based on what has been filed before. The priority date of that claim shall be date of the previously filed application. The priority date of that claim shall be the date of previously filed application in which the matter was first disclosed. Okay, so this is same. We are again discussing the same thing. 4, where the complete specification has been filed in pursuance of the further application made by virtue of subsection 1 of section 16, and the claim is fairly based on the matter disclosed in any of the earlier specification, provisional or complete, as the case may be, the priority date of that claim shall be the date of filing of that specification in which the matter was first disclosed. So section 16. So therefore I told you that please memorize the section name first. So what is section 16? Section 16 is, can you tell? Power of controller to make orders respecting division application. So this is regarding division application. So if application contains more than one invention, then it is divided. So again the same concept. The priority date is based on when the matter was first disclosed. 5, where under the foregoing provisions of this section, any claim of a complete specification would, but for the provision of this subsection, have 2 or more priority dates. The priority date of that claim shall be earlier or earliest of those. So if by any reason a claim has 2 or more priority dates, the priority date will be the earliest of those dates. So this is good for us, right? So the later on means earliest one would be considered. Okay, now 6. So this is section 11 and 6. In case in which the subsection 2, 3, 3A, 4, and 5 don't apply, the priority date of a claim shall, subject to the provisions of section 137, the date of filing of the complete specification. So 2, 3, 4, 5, they are talking about the provisionals and then combine them together. If that is not the case, then what is section 137? Can anyone tell? What is section 137? Any idea? 137 is multiple priorities. So multiple priorities comes under conventional application. So that is the date of filing the complete specification is the priority date. Number 7, the reference to date of filing of the application or of the complete specification in this section shall, in cases where there has been post dating under section 9. So under section 9 means what happens? That you already filed a provisional specification and then you file a complete specification, then you can have the priority date of the filing of the provisional specification, but you cancel the provisional specification and you said that I want to post date to the filing of the complete specification. So that is post dating under section 9. And section 17, you can request for the post dating. Or as the case may be, the anti-dating under section 16, be the reference to the date as to post dated or the anti-dated. So as the date is changed, so that date will be considered. Okay. So if you have post dated is, or according to section 17 post dated it, or according to section 16 you have anti-dated it. So we have videos on section 16. You can refer to those. So if you change the date, then that date will be considered. Okay, so this is the reference to the date of filing. So this is the date of filing, when to file. So if the date is changed, then that date will be considered for the filing date. Number 8, a claim in a complete specification of a patent shall not be invalid by reason only of the publication or use of invention so far as claimed in that claim or on or after the prior date of such claim, or the grant of another patent which claims the invention so far as claim the first mentioned claim in a claim of the same or a later priority date. So subsection 8 of section 11, it simply says that if you have filed a provisional specification or a complete specification, then after the priority date, on or after the priority date, publication or use invention, if it is there, then that will not be a ground for invalidation of your patent application. So with this, we have completed from section 3 to section 11, and from section 11A to forward, we have recordings available. You can watch. So we end here. Thank you very much.